When we hear about abuse, we usually think right away of women as victims. And in physical abuse, that's certainly true. But when it comes to emotional abuse, men are emotionally abused as much as women. And when men are emotionally abused, it's very different than when women are. Women have a way we can speak up. We have a network. We can talk about it. We understand it. We will go to authorities, and usually people will help you when you're being emotionally abused, especially if you tell someone and from there you get a network and they'll help you. Men are not this way. For one thing, men are ashamed of it. Men are more affected emotionally because it shuts them down further. They feel very weak. They feel incapable. And when men are emotionally abused, usually they've already identified that if they leave the marriage or the relationship, that they forfeit the chance of having their children near them. And that makes it more scary for men. They can't tell other women or other men about the abuse. Even if they tell other women, women are oftentimes like, well, get yourself together, say something. They're not really encouraging with the man. They don't know how to talk to abused men. And other guys, if a guy goes to another guy and says, hey man, she's just really bad to me, she talks down to me, she's abusive, the other guy usually doesn't know what to do. And he'll say, you need to get out more. You need to find, a vice that's not as healthy. Let's go out with the guys. Let's have a drink. You need to have another woman or, another relationship. They say things sometimes that are not helpful, not going to help the guy deal with his feelings of shame and embarrassment and low self-esteem. So if you're in a relationship and if you've noticed that, maybe the man in your life, you're being, really harsh, you're not yourself anymore, whether it's hormonal or whatever, I want you to listen to this video because I think it can help you. And for goodness sakes, if you're a guy who's in a relationship with someone who is emotionally abusing you, it's important you listen to this video, take it seriously, and then try to follow the suggestions. So I thought I would start with just telling you how emotional abuse comes out toward men. Okay, it comes out as constant anger on their partner's side. They're just always angry, irritable, and mad at them. Mood swings. Isolation from friends. All of a sudden, the person in their life will start isolating them. Well, I don't like that friend, or you can't do this because we've got the kids, or they'll just pull away. I can't stand your family. Your parents are crazy, or whatever insult they'll give them, so that they're trying to isolate the man, their partner, in a way that he doesn't have any context. So in other words, it makes the emotional abuse more severe and it affects them at a much deeper level. Withholding sex, treating your partner like a child. And we've all heard women say this, I've got 3 kids. And whether or not they feel that way, whether they feel vindicated or validated for it, it doesn't matter. That hurts the man. It hurts his sense of being capable, his sense of masculinity. It makes him smaller. You're not going to encourage him to help more that way. You're going to make him feel more like an incompetent child, and he will start being that person you're calling him. And also humiliating your partner in front of others, and that's especially damaging when you talk about how bad your partner is when you're out with your friends, because we all know one of the biggest things you can do to build your partner up and make them feel good is praise them for something, say something you appreciate about them out loud in front of friends. And when you do the opposite by talking about their weaknesses, that's really embarrassing and it's hurtful. So what happens? Well, men oftentimes suffer somatically first. Of course, they get headaches, they get stomach aches, they don't feel good. And honestly, it can raise blood pressure, can raise insulin, it can, throw your blood work out of whack. We know that men under the influence of anger or any kind of emotional distress do not deal with it as well as women do, because they don't have a support network in the same way that women do. It's harder for men in this society to appear weak or fragile or like they need help. So guys, this is what you need to do, not only for your marriage, not only for your relationship, but for your physical and mental health. Because if you're mentoring for a child who a dad is, who a man is, then it's important you feel good about yourself. The first thing, you need to speak up. You need to speak up to your partner. You need to speak up to a healthcare professional and say, this is what's happening at home. And with your partner, you need to tell them what has to happen in order to save the relationship. You have to say something along the lines of this: listen, I feel disrespected, I feel abused, I know you have reasons why, but unless we can manage these, we can get control of these, we can understand these with an outside source, with therapy, I cannot stay in this marriage because I feel like it's making me sick. It's bringing out the very worst in me, and I'm finding myself more and more at a loss of how to make this work. No matter what you do, do not be abused. Abuse is abuse, and I don't care what gender it happens to, and I would use that word. And guys, I know that makes you feel like a victim, but in a very real sense, you are. You're a victim of someone who is hurting you constantly with words. And words really are very effective in changing your whole body, your health, and mostly your mind. And it's like being under the influence of mind control. It's not good for you, and it will leave you devastated if you don't do something about it. And so no matter what they say, you could have failed. There could have been things you fell through on, but it doesn't give your partner a right to abuse you. Emotional abusers are not mentally healthy. And I think when you put it in that context, you realize that seeking a mental health care professional is not only to save your marriage, but it's to help you help your partner. And when you took that vow for better or worse, this is oftentimes the worst part, and you have to address it. Ignoring it, denying it, putting your head in the sand is only going to make the situation worse. So rather than keep it going, keep enabling, what I'm suggesting you do is stand up to it. Make a note of this today and make changes. If this video is helpful for you, please subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much.